big quarterback table for Jaxson Dart?
He's still at the kids' table. J-Mac, in 8 games, he's checked into the blue tent 4 times. He's already, he leads quarterbacks in rush attempts, which I am a fan of young quarterbacks using their athletic ability and feet to move the chains as they grow. But right now, from the pocket, still have my doubts. He's a risk taker. He moves well, a lot of confidence. Probably one more Thanksgiving from moving, to a glass of wine.
All right. Well, this one's going to...
All right. I have to admit, I've been thoroughly captivated by Jaxson Dart's performance. You can voice whatever criticisms you like about him, but it's undeniable that he was thrust into an incredibly challenging and disorganized scenario. I mean, consider the context. A receiving core lacking proven talent, a coaching situation that was in constant flux, and a running game that provided very little support. You might mention that he's at the top of the list for quarterback rush attempts, and he's only participated in 8 games, or more accurately, 7 full games and a part of another. It's actually quite a fitting illustration because he's positioned right beside Caleb Williams on this particular statistical chart. You can observe that in fewer appearances, he has generated comparable passing yardage and other aerial statistics. Furthermore, he possesses a higher completion percentage, 62.7% compared to 59.2%. He also has a superior touchdown-to-interception ratio. Let's remember that Caleb Williams has played in more contests, so he will naturally have accumulated more total touchdowns and so forth, but the ratio favors Dart. In fewer games, Jaxson Dart has recorded 13 big-time throws, while Caleb Williams has 16. Even when you adjust the numbers for dropped passes, Jaxson Dart's adjusted completion percentage is 73.4%, compared to Caleb Williams' 70.9%. He has a genuinely impressive passer rating of 93.5, best in Caleb's 91.3. For context, you can see Baker Mayfield is at 93.1. And here's another crucial data point. His pressure-to-sack percentage sits at 23.3%. Now, that figure is higher than the ideal target, but from the perspective of a first-year quarterback, it's actually quite remarkable. For comparison, Caleb Williams posted a 28.2% in his rookie season. Will Levis was at 30.4%. Baker Mayfield's figure last season was 25.2%. Aaron Rodgers, obviously a veteran dealing with injuries, and Russell Wilson are lower, while Jaden Daniels is at 22.2%. So, all things considered, Dart's performance in this area is actually at a pretty high level. Now, perhaps the original commentator was referring to rushing attempts on a per-game basis, or maybe he was only considering the other quarterbacks at the proverbial kids table, because on the list I'm looking at, Dart is 5th for total rush attempts. The data is pretty unambiguous. The numbers are the numbers. However, I could see how the calculation might shift to a per-game average, given the way his season has unfolded in that specific regard. But I mean, he's also in the top 5 for rushing yards with 317. Patrick Mahomes, for instance, has 318. And let's not forget, Dart has 7 rushing touchdowns. So, when you examine total touchdowns, Caleb Williams had 3, while Jaxson Dart had 7. If you incorporate that into the overall assessment of total touchdowns to turnover ratio, the picture changes quite dramatically, to be frank. I just believe we have to give this young man a significant amount of credit. A tremendous amount of credit. Does he need to become a more intelligent and selective runner? Without a doubt. Absolutely. Do you want to see him learn when to get down, when to slide, and when to adopt a more conservative approach with his legs? Certainly. But what is pretty astounding here is that Jaxson Dart has accumulated 26 rushing first downs. Those are first downs he secured directly through his mobility. Again, he did not play a complete season. Jalen Hurts played a full season. Josh Allen played a full season. Justin Herbert played a full season. And yet Dart is right there with them at 26. He is only 5 behind Jalen Hurts, who, I'll reiterate, played the entire schedule. And I'm telling you now, as someone who has watched every single Philadelphia Eagles game this year, not all of Hurts' first downs are from the tush-push, but undoubtedly at least 4 or 5 of them are. And to be fair, Jaxson Dart has also benefited from some quarterback sneaks. Let's be perfectly clear about that. But this is still objectively impressive. The sheer volume of responsibility they placed on Jaxson Dart's shoulders is pretty extraordinary. Therefore, you should be absolutely ecstatic right now. I mean, he's got 7 rushing touchdowns. Jalen Hurts has 8. Josh Allen has 10. He is right in that mix. And let me state it once more. He has played fewer games than all of them. And he is a rookie. I don't believe people are genuinely and fully appreciating what Jaxson Dart managed to accomplish this season. He was actually quite effective even when facing the blitz, which is notoriously the primary method for attacking a first-year quarterback. Just send pressure relentlessly. Again, some of his cumulative stats will be skewed because he didn't complete the full season, so his total yardage isn't necessarily top tier. However, his PFF grade is decent. Once more, for a rookie, it's solid. He has 6 touchdown passes against 3 interceptions, resulting in a 2.1 touchdown to interception ratio. Interestingly, his PFF offensive rating is technically higher than that of Josh Allen, Bo Nix, Aaron Rodgers, and Caleb Williams. Now, I'm not saying I 100% agree with that output. I believe these PFF offensive ratings need to be contextualized. They are somewhat similar to passer rating in my view, but they can become particularly abstract once you start diving into hyper-specific situations, like performance when blitzed versus when not blitzed. I'm not even going to pretend I have it all completely figured out. I am more at ease when we're discussing broader, more general statistics and using these grading systems for overall performance. But once we begin to dissect it with more nuance, it's an area where I still want to gain more comfort and understanding before I start stating conclusions with full conviction or placing excessive confidence in those specific figures. For instance, when facing the blitz, his passer rating is 96.8. This serves as a perfect example of the complexity. Jalen Hurts has a 115.2 passer rating when blitzed, and yet their overall PFF offensive ratings are very close. Some of that discrepancy might be explained by the fact that perhaps Jaxson Dart used his legs more effectively against the blitz, scrambling for rushing touchdowns. Jalen Hurts has a 10-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio when blitzed, along with double the passing yards and a significantly better completion percentage. So, when I encounter a statistical paradox like that, I feel I need to understand precisely how their model reconciles it. It's the same reason I'm not quite prepared to endorse the stat that Spencer Rattler is apparently a top 5 offensively rated quarterback against the blitz. I'm just not ready to make that claim. Therefore, for these kinds of advanced metrics, I prefer to stick with statistics that require slightly less interpretation and are more straightforward. But regardless of that preference, I still find his overall body of work to be pretty impressive. That's the central point I'm trying to emphasize here. So yeah, I just believe there is a tremendous amount to be optimistic about with Jaxson Dart. A tremendous amount. I understand the whole concern about the medical tent. He's taking hits. He's getting knocked around. I get it. He was a bit more reckless with his legs than with his arm, which in my view is actually fine. That is a much easier problem to rectify. It just involves coaching points like, hey, you need to get down, or, hey, when you decide to scramble, make sure your priorities are X, Y, and Z. It just seems more coachable. I don't know, I'm just significantly less concerned about that aspect of his game. Also, you have to consider the chaotic nature of the offensive system the Giants were running. The operation was conducted in a very loose, almost wild manner. I recognize that they needed some of that explosive, unpredictable energy with players like Jaxson Dart and Scattaboo, and I'm actually in favor of that element. But that's just the foundation, right? That's like a freshman arriving at college and thinking, whoa, we're here, let's go all out. But then, to achieve sustained success, to win championships and become truly great, you have to mature rapidly. If you want to win at the highest level, no prestigious firm on Wall Street is hiring a freshman fraternity brother. Okay? That's simply not how the world operates. When you possess the innate talent, the skilled players around you, the right coaching structure, and a strong culture, you can certainly bring that energy and intensity, that work hard, play hard ethos. But at its core, it's still a business. Those same successful Wall Street individuals might party vigorously, but they understand the boundary. They comprehend when it's time to focus and get down to business, and they can effectively separate the two spheres. I think for a moment those lines became a little too blurred for the Giants. It started to embody a Wolf of Wall Street mentality, and you don't necessarily want that either. You need to be a bit more strategic and intelligent about it. Consequently, I do believe that a more structured environment will help extract some of that recklessness and temper the wildness. If we see a more polished, more composed version of Jaxson Dart emerge, I think that player could be incredibly, formidably dangerous in all the right ways. So, I'm genuinely excited to continue watching his development, to be honest. But those are merely my personal reflections. I would be absolutely delighted to hear yours. What are all of your thoughts on Jaxson Dart? Do you believe he belongs at the kids' table, with the other young quarterbacks? Or has he earned a spot at the big table? How would you assess his performance this season? Please share your perspectives in the comment section below. I read every single comment, so whether you find yourself in agreement with me or you vehemently disagree, either way, let's engage in some discussions. Let's get into some spirited debates. But ultimately, let's just have an enjoyable exchange. And please do consider subscribing. We are constructing a phenomenal community here, and I would absolutely adore seeing you become a part of it. I am committed to building something we all feel a genuine connection to, something we are truly thrilled to be involved with. I believe we are making significant progress toward achieving that. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely assists with visibility and the platform's algorithm. Thank you all so very much. I will see you next time.